the Austin Pets Alive presented a proposal during adoptions when we were talking about the comprehensive adoption program, and so I'm not going to do that exact same presentation then that we did then, but I wanted to just go over some points that I think are helpful, hopefully helpful, and kind of recap what we've put out on the table. The comprehensive adoption program had 4 different modular components that all funnel into adoption, and that was the program that we thought would cost about $1 million to fund completely, and that is to do all of the adoptions that TLAC currently does, which is 4,900, plus increasing live outcomes by about 3,700 more, 3,750. And that includes on-site adoptions and having a new customer service component with people who are in the kennels, helping people access the animals and follow through all the way to adoption. That's the make ready, doing the spay-neuter, the workup, everything for when an animal is chosen from the stray side to go over to the adoption side. And so anyway, like I said, I won't repeat everything.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Do you mind?
No, no, it's fine.
So the comprehensive adoption program, that one item is the $1 million, or does that include the second piece of increased live outcomes?
It
I
includes.
went through the other presentation and I was having a hard time getting the numbers together.
It includes the off-site adoptions and the on-site adoptions.
So it's these 1, 2, 3, 4
Yeah.
bullets?
Well, the volunteer coordination and the foster coordination were not included in the money part of that, but I think that that is something that we could negotiate to work on as a partner with volunteer efforts, supporting the city staff, or move that city money over.
So the $1 million is just the 2 adoption things?
But including all the adoptions that TLAC currently does.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll start your time again.
Okay. And then the other piece that we offered is separate from adoptions, and that is increasing live outcomes by working in other shelter areas. And we have a strong interest in rescue coordination, trying to, like what we heard earlier, getting the rescue days back up to 7 days a week, increased rescue hours so that every single animal has a chance to be rescued out via the World Wide Web to anybody who can't make it to the shelter. And also working with PASS, which is what we call our program for preventing animals from being dropped off, and that's basically counseling, offering services to people so they don't have to necessarily leave their pet there. And then lost and found coordination. We talked a lot about the web, using the web and enhancing a website to make it more useful. So our priority as an organization is the comprehensive adoption program, and the reason is that we believe that it will save the most lives in the shortest amount of time, and that's important from what the council has given the Animal Advisory Commission to work on. It's the only proposal that is out there that we've seen, that I've seen, to reach those kind of numbers. And I think that's significant because I don't know what else we're going to do, which I'm going to address in a minute. And then it will increase the strategic focus on the adoption program, whereas right now the city has to focus on every aspect of everything animal in the entire city: cruelty, neglect, picking up roaming animals, adoption, everything, lost and found. And if we had one group that can focus solely on adoption, then it can't help but improve. Not that the city is doing a bad job, it's just that I think when you have a sole focus, you can do more. And what we are planning to do is increase the capacity by adding new programs such as off-site adoptions, maximizing the existing untapped capacity in customer service, the make ready, and the foot traffic, so getting the animals ready faster so they can get out the door faster, and then also leveraging the number of people who are already coming into the shelter by trying to feed whatever their needs are. And I'm not sure that right now they are. And then it also provides the flexibility that the city doesn't have to try new programs, use volunteers, and provide a web service that we've heard that the city is having difficulty doing, and that's something that a nonprofit can have a lot of help for. And it also, this is something that just occurred to me, it serves as a safety net for the new shelter. The new shelter is hopefully going to be everything that we want it to be, but by having having a nonprofit already running an adoption center for TLAC animals, if we have an increase in intake or a decrease in people going to the shelter to adopt, there's already something in place to help catch some of that. And so why I think the AAC should recommend APA's comprehensive adoption program to council is that APA, we are a local leader in successful community adoptions. We're already targeting the animals that are left over from the ones that are a little bit easier to adopt. And we've already decreased euthanasia at Town Lake by 22% by rescuing directly from the euthanasia list. We can bring resources to the table, including fundraising, expertise, and positive PR. We have an unprecedented council support for this, for no kill, and so there's an opportunity to act on that, and it provides the quickest path to implementation. And we already have a relationship with Town Lake staff and understand the internal processes that occur there. And this next slide is, it sounds really negative, but it's really not meant to be. The city, Dorinda has done an amazing job, especially in prevention, which is a huge part of what her job is. And speaking from Emancipet, back when I was part of Emancipet, the changes that the city has undergone in the last 10 years for prevention have been outstanding. And I think that our shelter is above and beyond most shelters probably in Texas, probably above all of them in Texas as a city shelter. And so I don't want to sound like I'm harping on the city, but I think, but what I'm not hearing is a plan for the future if the commission doesn't recommend APA's comprehensive plan. And that is a little bit scary to me as a citizen, because I don't know what we're going to do to meet the council resolution goals if we don't have another alternative. And the new shelter is not designed to change live outcomes. There was a question and answer thing that it was like a public meeting about the shelter, and there was no anticipated change to the live outcomes for dogs. And we heard the other night there might be an intake increase of up to 25%. And so even though we're getting this new shelter and it's going to be great, it's not going to make us no kill. And I think that's really important to remember. And the customer service and rescue, we've already lost the position in customer service for the foster coordination, so it's getting a positive, but we lost part of the customer service team, which is, I think, needs a lot of help to meet the demand of the customers that are out there. And we're also down a rescue coordinator position. So, and what that says to me as a citizen is that the adoption programs and the rescue programs are not as important as the prevention programs, although foster's not prevention, but to the city. And I think that makes sense. The city is more focused on animal control, and that's where it should be. And animal control is prevention of unwanted litters, prevention of suffering, prevention of all the things that occur in the community. So I think by partnering with a nonprofit, we can focus also on the animals that are already at the shelter. And I wrote this down too, a suggested pilot period. One thing that crossed my mind is that if the city were to find funding for this program to eliminate some of the risk, there might be a way to redirect funds from the, not redirect, put in more funds and offer this comprehensive adoption program, but then instead of losing the staff that are dedicated to the animals that are already at Town Lake, I mean the services that are already at Town Lake, putting those people on prevention programs like the medical, the behavior. If the veterinary staff was freed up to not ever do spays and neuters and wellness on the adoption animals, then that leaves a lot more room for them to do work for people who are trying to drop off their pet, but might not if they had some resources to keep them healthy, or lost and found, getting more of the animals back to their owners by doing community outreach. I think there's a lot of opportunity to expand our already excellent prevention programs. And Space Street is another example of that. And so anyway, that was just a thought. And then if for some reason the APA program didn't succeed, which I have no reason to believe it wouldn't, then those staff positions could be funneled back to where they were in 2011, or the city could then decide to either keep funding prevention and adoption or choose one or the other at that point. So it's just an idea, food for thought on how to come up with some of the money. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh, so I have one quick question, which is probably premature since Lovable hasn't presented yet. But because we know that so many of the animals at Town Lake are pit bulls, I'm assuming APA is more than willing to work with such organizations, especially to help the animals that everybody agrees have particular issues at the shelter.
Yeah, and I think that one way we've tried to identify ourselves as not having a stake in anything in particular is by only choosing the euthanasia list animals. We want any animal that can get out, and not that Lovable's taking animals, but you know, we don't really have a territorial thing going on. So yes, we would welcome the help. If the more people helping, the better.
Always back to the money. Okay. Have you taken a look at the budget to see if you, if it's going to cost $1 million, how much money you would be able to, like, if it cost $1 million here, but you're saving 750, so the net increase is really only 250. Have you looked at any of those numbers?
I don't have access to that. We have the budget from the city from '08, I think we got as a commission, but it's not broken down in a way that you can really see exactly how much goes into adoptions. But I would think that it's over $1 million. But again, most of that's staff, and so the city has, you know, that's a significant concern.
Could you expound a little bit on that 22% number?
Mm-hmm.
As far as how
Yeah, that is, that is the euthanasia number minus the number of animals that so 22% fewer animals died because we took them off the euthanasia list.
those dogs
And cats.
and cats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in fiscal year '09 we took 730 cats and 1,200 dogs.
Ellen, I'm going to put you on the spot, if
Okay.
you don't mind. Give me a one-word bullet point.
Oh no. Make me think
each
on the spot.
item of the recommendations that your plan covers, and I'll read them to you if you want me to.
Let me look, Ellen, mine.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I'm a total deer in the headlights. Thanks.
Public relations, I assume, is one you said.
Yes, definitely. I think that Gretchen
That's
just.
2 words.
Oh, sorry.
No, public relations. Okay, 2 words, sorry.
Well, I think one thing, our team has done a really good job with the website and reaching out to the public. We have over 900 hits on our website every day, and 3,300 Facebook fans now, and can't remember Twitter followers.
So go through them. Public relations. What else? Let me
Okay.
try to rephrase what I'm getting at. I want to know, of these things that we're trying to accomplish, what your proposal, how that fulfills that void or gets us there? Like what bullet points? Does that make sense?
Sort of. No, I'm sorry. I don't have a good idea.
So your proposal, you said that you're going to increase outcome, or life outcomes, obviously, through off-site adoption. So it fulfills that need.
Yes.
It fulfills that void. Off-site adoptions is one. Public
Yes.
relations.
I mean, I don't know if it's as comprehensive as everybody wants, but certainly we would have public relations, increase in public relations.
Okay.
The increased capacity for adoption, yes, definitely. The large-scale foster program, yes. The comprehensive adoption program does not talk about the increase of return to owners or the increased owner awareness of possible euthanasia or increased owner safety net. That's not part of the comprehensive adoption program. Those are things we want to help with, but they're not part of the comprehensive
Wouldn't
adoption
that
program.
pass help with the last one that you just mentioned?
But that's something separate from the comprehensive program. Because it's just adoption as opposed to prevention. Does that make sense? And then it doesn't address the feral cat spay neuter, but I do think that there would be an opportunity, obviously, to work with kittens and getting them into the adoption program and helping with socialization through the foster program. Let's see. High volume, free, and low cost spay neuter, that's not part of it because that's in the community, not at the shelter. And then the public involvement, I think that getting a nonprofit involved would increase the public involvement at the shelter, increase their stake in what's happening at the shelter, and hopefully have a very positive influence on funding. I think that if a nonprofit came out and said, you know, we're planning to save all these animals and we need your help, I think that the public would come forward in a very big way. And we've seen that just from a nonprofit with no building. So I can imagine how that would parlay. And then exploring outsourcing, obviously.
And just to be clear, because I'm not no offense, Larry, but I'm not totally sure what your question was either. Sorry. I mean, so I understand being put on the spot, or that Jefferson being put on the spot, but just to be clear though, this particular proposal by APA, I mean, is one of several we've heard over the various meetings that we've had over the last 2.5 months, or however long it's now been. And so you guys have addressed, other issues here. I mean, the comprehensive adoption program, my understanding, isn't to cover and hit every single one of our topics.
Right.
It's to fit this particular need, and that you guys have made other proposals to fill other needs. So you've done this, you've done a comprehensive gap-filling set of presentations for us over the course of the few weeks that we've been doing this. So.
And the adoption program is really where our expertise is right now, where we would like to be better at the PASS program and Lost and Found, but where we've really excelled is the adoption program.
Other questions?